The fact that India has different types of users, so the top 50 million Indians have very similar spending power as, let's say, users in the West, like the US or the UK or Western Europe. We also have a very long tail set of users who have internet access, but they don't have the same spending power. So then how do you sort of segment your users and cater to unique needs of different types of users? I think that's something that Indian developers excel at. Sustainability is key, because you don't want to be in a position where you hire a bunch of folks and you don't have a business next year. How do you make sure that you have users that are sticky, they come to your platform, they stay, they engage with you, and that's the only way to really be sustainable as a business.
Here we are at Google App Summit in Vietnam. It is amazing. And Killol, I think it's also amazing because it's such a vibrant market, and it's great to see you here as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
I wonder, is this your first time in Vietnam? I'm just curious.
I was here last year for our App Summit last year as well.
Okay. And looking at the Indian market, I know from my experience at Pocket Gamer, for example, we do the top 50 apps, period.
Yep.
And we've never had so many Indian games in the list before. So this is a market up and coming.
Yep.
Where do you see the similarities or something that even the Vietnam market could learn from the other experiences in India?
I would say, I think the similarities and where right now India is learning from Vietnam is how do we cater to global use cases and needs of users everywhere in the world. And that's where I think Vietnam has done a tremendous job over the last several years. And Indian developers, on the other hand, have in the past focused on unique needs of Indian citizens in India and built for those specific needs. But we are learning from Vietnam, right? So to answer your question, where can Vietnam maybe learn from India? I would say two things. One is how do you uniquely solve for local needs? Right, so quick commerce is an example of that. We didn't have that industry a few years ago, and now it's worth billions of dollars, solving for a very unique Indian user need. The fact that India has different types of users, so the top 50 million Indians have very similar spending power as, let's say, users in the West, like the US or the UK or Western Europe. We also have a very long tail set of users who have internet access, but they don't have the same spending power. So then how do you sort of segment your users and cater to unique needs of different types of users? I think that's something that Indian developers excel at.
Yeah, I was talking to some people at a table, and we were talking about that, saying, yes, we have this great app and we are doing really well. They're nominated in the Hall of Fame. And how do we address segmentation? So it's going to be very, very interesting. I think that Vietnam has excelled by exporting to the world, and now it's going to think more and more about what are those special areas or what are those special niches. It's also a very vibrant ecosystem, but in many cases just emerging, the networking, maybe the infrastructure, the ecosystem there. How would you describe it in Vietnam? And again, maybe some lessons that go back and forth in both ways, because when you have a great ecosystem, you have a very strong market.
Yeah, so I think the ecosystem in Vietnam is very, very strong. I think the community is very strong, right? So all app developers know each other, they meet with each other. There's less of trade secrets and more of how do we all collectively grow. So that's something great that everybody should learn from. We do have such communities in India, but they are like smaller communities. It's not India-wide. But India is a country with many contrasts, and many differences. So we're getting there, but that's something that's unique about Vietnam, and I think that's really
we'll see growth in both areas, I think, in both regions. The excitement I'm seeing is also a lot of indies. And everything comes from indies, it's that spark, it's that idea.
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts. What are some thoughts, maybe some advice even to an indie entering the market and saying, yes, I want to get involved. There's energy, there's action, there's funding. What is some advice? What is your top tip?
I would say the number one thing to focus on, maybe the number two and the number three things to focus on in the beginning is give your users a great experience, right? Whether it's in your app, whether it's through ads, whatever business model you have, make sure the user experience is top-notch and then the world's your oyster.
And that's just it. It's the user experience. That's very holistic. I mean, I personally am looking a lot at the ad experience as well, because for the user, they do not distinguish.
They don't
your
care.
app and
Exactly.
your ad are the product.
Obviously, you should not be annoying to your users, but if you focus on user engagement, revenue can follow, right? So the number one rule to get started as an indie is focus on user experience. There are a lot of great examples out there. There are a lot of bad ones as well. So how do we make sure you're on the good side and push the envelope on really making it really super smooth and simple for the user to work with your app, to access your app or a game.
And also what's important there is, again, coming back to the community. I mean, the user understands a good experience and it will take off from there. You know, we're always seeing how important ratings and everything else is. But also in building the teams, any thought about that? Because the other point is you can have an indie team, which means that, great news, there is a more of a level playing field, but there's then also different skills. I'm talking to companies that are very, very deeply, for example, into AI and bringing that into the team. And of course, Google, very active in that direction as well. Maybe some thoughts about the skills needed to succeed as an indie.
Number one, obviously, you need the tech skills to be able to actually develop the app. And AI could be a great sort of force multiplier there. You can do a lot without coding, really. But you do also need to be commercially successful. You need like a great deal of business skills as well. You need to be able to find a way to distribute your app. You need to be able to find a way to do it in a commercially viable and sustainable manner. So yeah, we do find situations where there's a lot of tech talent. Sometimes
lacking the business
skills, business talent and skills are missing. It could also be the other way around. Somebody might have a lot of business talent or might have access to capital, but might not actually have tech talent. Finding that golden balance is crucial to be successful in the long term.
That's what I'm also hearing again, and also at the events, not just at Google events, but others where you have more developers saying, you know, I want to learn about the business skills. Unique challenges in this area. We're talking about the opportunities, but there's always, again, the challenges. And that's good, maybe, because it makes you work harder or focus in order to take care and take advantage of the opportunities. What are some of the unique challenges here?
I think obviously competition keeps growing, right? AI is going to democratize app development like we've never seen before. And so how do you compete in that space as an app developer? That's going to be an up and coming challenge on an ongoing basis. The second thing is user time is still limited, right? There's only 24 hours in the day. If users spend more time on, let's say, AI chat or AI companion apps, that's less time spent on gaming. So how do you deal with that, and how do you show up as an agile app development company or gaming studio to be able to deal with an evolving, fast changing world?
It goes full circle, because when you're dealing and thinking and focused on the user experience, then the user will be there for you.
Absolutely.
What about the most critical piece of your ecosystem that they should be tapping into? Because we could talk about the AI, we could talk about the monetization, we've already talked about ad quality. So there's a lot of different ways to connect to catapult an indie company forward. What parts do you think they should be focusing on? Because it's almost an embarrassment of riches. There's almost too much. So where do they start?
I mean, I would start at the very beginning, right? So we offer a full suite of solutions for app developers in all stages of their journey, right? So think about Google's leadership in AI as a potential business advantage for app developers. And that helps both develop and distribute your app. We offer a full suite of marketing solutions to drive user engagement and acquisition. And then we offer a full suite of monetization solutions as well. So from that standpoint, we are trying to be there for the developer in every stage of their journey. That's basically what Google's offering is.
And helping them also shift the lens from what it was before, which was growth, to sustainable growth. That's what it's about. Not having the users, but having the users longer.
Sustainability is key, because you don't want to be in a position where you hire a bunch of folks and you don't have a business next year. How do you make sure that you have users that are sticky, they come to your platform, they stay, they engage with you, and that's the only way to really be sustainable as a business.
So I've been surprised about how excited the people at this event are. You know, they're really celebrating what they have achieved in this year. What's been a surprise for you, maybe looking at 2025, or something that you're excited about looking into 2026?
I think the pace of innovation just continues to surprise me. I've been in this business for over a decade, keep getting faster and better, and 2025 has been no different. We've had a number of new innovations across verticals, across business models, and we just didn't know that these things were possible a couple of years ago. So that's what's been surprising to us in the whole gaming and app space, and that's what gives me to work every day.
What are thoughts to get the most out of the App Summit for someone coming to the event?
I would say things that we talked about, right? So number one, build for user experience, and how does Google help you do that? Number two, how do you grow sustainably? And number three, how do you tap into Google's AI advantage to make it your business advantage?
Perfect. What better advice, and what better than from someone who's been there for a decade, a little bit of an OG yourself, Killol. It's great to speak with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great talking to you.
Thank you.